Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review, of course, and yes, back continuing reviewing this animated franchise. Now we're on to the fourth film, and as you guys remember, I had reviewed the first three Ice Age films, just myself. But if you remember, I of course this past Christmas, last Christmas in 2021, I reviewed A Mammoth Christmas with who is joining me reviewing the fourth Ice Age film, which being, of course, Continental Drift. Back with me once again is the Amazing Gamer 111. It's good to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I have been waiting a while to review these movies. I just haven't had the time with moving and all, but
Right.
now it's good to finally get down to these two movies with 4 and 5.
Yeah. So here's the thing, yeah, because we are going to review. Here's the thing: the reviews of the next Ice Age films, 5 and the Buck Wild film. Yeah, the Amazing Gamer will be joining me reviewing those. But for now, as you read the title, yes, we're reviewing Ice Age 4: Continental Drift, and I have so memories of this film. Like, okay, we'll start with you. Like, what are the first things you want to say on Ice Age 4?
Well, I guess the sort of the aftermath of Ice Age 3 and 4, that was around when I started getting into the Ice Age movies. I think it was around 8, maybe 12. I can't remember. It's all fuzzy.
Right.
But I do remember watching Ice Age 3 and being really excited for Ice Age 4. I didn't go and see it in theaters, but I do remember catching it on TV Guide one day and then clicking on it and just seeing the intro with Scrat and then just falling and him seeing Buck, and I thought, oh my god, Buck's going to be another huge character in the movie. But sadly he wasn't. He was there for like 2 seconds as a cameo, which is fine.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I did love Continental Drift. But as you know, with most movies now from childhood, as we get older, we do see a few small significant problems with it, and a few weird, just like Mammoth Christmas, there's a few inconsistencies with this movie, especially like going from this movie to the fifth, which we'll get to soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what you said about Buck Wild, yeah, I mean, he was there for 2 seconds, like he just made a cameo, but, at least he was present, in the fourth film, and until he would have a big role in the next one.
Yeah, and it is nice that they at least, I guess they kept Buck consistent throughout all the movies, no matter how big or small his appearance was.
Exactly, yeah. And another thing is, because, yeah, like, Buck, not Buck, Scrat is responsible, basically, in established, well, in the Ice Age universe, where Scrat basically, tore, the globe apart, and, in the fourth film, because we get a lot of couple of new characters. For one thing, we see that Peaches is now a teenager, and Lewis, yeah, who was only in the fourth film. What happened to him? Later, in the next Ice Age film, he was totally left out. Do you remember Lewis?
Yeah, that is the main inconsistency I did want to mention. It's like Lewis was genuinely a fun character, and then he's just replaced by Julian with no context as to what happened to him in the fifth one.
I know, and Lewis, he was being voiced by Josh Gad. I find it funny because I just feel like saying this. This was a year before Josh Gad would voice another animated character in another animated feature. Olaf. So anyways, but yeah, because this came out a year before Frozen. But here, okay. Also, we finally get I think maybe myself including, and I remember watching the behind the scenes of Continental Drift where, where one of the members of Blue Sky were just talking about, how, I want to meet, because of who I'm about to mention, we finally get because of so many mentionings of them, we finally see Sid's parents.
Exactly, and I do want to say something. I've been saving this review.
Okay.
Granny steals the show. She is just completely hilarious in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
She really is.
And Granny being voiced by Wanda Sykes just nails it.
Yeah, that one joke she makes of throwing Sid off the ship. I'll throw him off the ship. You guys say it was an accident.
Yeah. Yep, that is funny. But as I was like, okay, but on Sid's family, because as I like one of the like when I watched the behind the scenes, like one of the Blue Sky crew workers, like said, like I want to meet Uncle Fungus. Who is Uncle Fungus? And yeah, because imagine like what Uncle Fungus is like, and yeah, we of course see Uncle Fungus. Like apparently Uncle Fungus is very well like dirty and smelly. So yeah, and okay, in the first Ice Age film, because well, Sid wondering where his family went because they were sleeping on a tree, like, naming them Zach, Marshall, and Uncle Fungus, etc. And, well, we see Uncle Fungus, but we also see Marshall, and, of course, we see Sid's mom and dad. But the whereabouts of the other members of Sid's family, I don't know. In fact, I remember, like, at one point, Sid was going to have a sister, but that never came to be. Yeah, and that's another thing. Sid's family, once again, like, leave Sid, and, well, they leave Granny with Sid. And, another thing is that, oh, yeah, because remember, yeah, you would remember this, like, throughout the film, because Granny calling out, for Precious.
Yeah, I do remember Precious, and the payoff for that joke is just brilliant.
Exactly. And also, yeah, jumping back to Peaches, like, she has eyes on a boy mammoth, and another thing is, yeah, because at one point when when after what Scrat did, like, the globe tearing apart, and it's making its way to where Manny and the herd are, and of course Manny, Diego, and Sid, they are like separated from Elliot and Peaches, yeah, and also to keep going, like we have now let's talk about the pirates.
Yeah, and what was the pirate's name? Captain Gut.
Correct.
Who voiced Captain Gut again?
It was Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, and he does an absolutely outstanding job with his voice as well and his performance.
Oh yeah, this was the first time since the first Ice Age film where we actually were the villains of Ice Age. Again, this was the first time since the first movie where we had an Ice Age villain, that talked,
Yeah, because the past three movies were just problems that they needed to fix up in the climax. But no, we have true villains this time, which I think, as most complained about, I thought it was a nice change-up, really.
Yeah, definitely. It was like the idea of like, these like animals like being pirates, excuse me, like was pretty cool, and even like Guts' hair is like in the shape of a pirate hat. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a neat attention to detail. I did like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, like, part of Captain Guts' crew, and of course would join the herd, Shira.
Shira, yeah, the love interest for Diego.
Yeah, you said it's Diego, not Diago.
Diego, right.
Diago. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, so Shira and Jennifer Lopez voicing Shira, and, and also up to when, like, I can't remember what they're called, but I want to say they're like minion wannabes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they're kind of like, they do remind me a lot of, what's the name? Hades' henchmen from Hercules. They give me those kind of vibes.
Pain and Panic?
Yeah, those two.
Yeah, like Captain Gut was torturing these like little like creatures and like, like, I don't know, hamster-like creatures, animals, I don't know, but of course they help Manny and the gang, like take on Gut, and they steal Gut's ship, and yeah, and I'm trying to remember what else. Oh yeah, that also let's also come to that sequence, the sirens.
Yes, the sirens, where they do. I really like how sirens are handled in this movie, like using full-on shape-shifting manipulation to lure anyone in.
Right. Yeah, that was a nice little detail there, and Diego, Granny, and Sid being hypnotized, or just, and even like it almost kind of it hits Manny, but no, because, realizes that something's wrong, and, they're sirens, don't listen to them. And do you remember this? Because how did Manny know this song? Like, it's never, you know, he sings, "Who could take a sun?" He's singing Candyman.
Yeah, he sings the old Candyman song.
Like, how does he know that song? Like, that song has not existed yet.
I also think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this was the first movie to introduce those kind of pop cultural references as well.
I want to say so, yeah. I really, because I do not recall the first three. Like, especially not the first one. I don't know on the I'm not sure on the second one. Like, if it does count where Sid does sing a couple of songs, you know, and it's making Manny feel worse, you know. I don't think that counts, but and I do not recall. Well, no. I remember in Ice Age 3, if this counts. Remember when Elliot said "Yabba Dabba Doo"?
Yeah, the Yabba Dabba Doo Flintstones.
So that counts, right?
Yeah, that definitely counts.
Okay, now I remember. So that does count. And then, of course, in the fourth film, well, Manny, he sings a little bit of Candyman. So, here's another thing. We were kind of off this. I like that one part where right before they bump into the sirens. I like that part where Manny and Sid, they're teasing Diego. Remember that?
Yeah, that was a pretty funny scene. Yep, fishy.
I liked that scene. That was pretty funny. Oh gosh, remember because when Manny he was turning the boat, and when because like Diego and Sid they hit something, and like Sid hits Diego, but you know they lock lips. Remember that one part?
Yeah, I remember that part.
Yeah, and then because when we've cut back and forth to Scrat, like when at one point he finds the map to like where he finds Scrat Atlantis. At one point, you know, the sirens go after Scrat, and first, what was that female character's name? Was it Scratette?
I think it was Scratette, yeah, who was introduced in the previous movie as reoccurring conflict to get the nut from Scrat.
Yeah.
Who was first used to lure him in, but then as he's like, no, and then decides to leave, it turns into a nut, and of course that lures Scrat in, but then he ends up beating it down inside the clam, and then a bunch of other sirens gang up on him, and he makes a quick escape.
Yeah, you established it very well, so yeah, everything that you said. But, so there's that, and, there's even at one point where, you know what, remember, because, yeah, like, when Peach is hanging out with the teenage mammoths, and even at one point, like, kind of hurting Lewis's feelings, and, even up to that point when, you know, Manny and the gang, they do return, and Captain Gut has them hostage, and, action pack going on and such. Is there anything you want to talk about, like, during that whole sequence?
Yeah, I do really like the massive art. What is it? The entire scene where the payoff for the precious joke Granny had been making suddenly comes into full play and scares the pirates half to death. It's just brilliant.
Right.
And what else? Granny attempting to stand up against all the different pirates, just standing on the ground. Sid is completely terrified, and then the fish jumps out. It's just a brilliant scene.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And when we finally see Precious the whale.
Yeah, exactly. And Sid turns around also terrified, just thinking, oh, he must be terrified of me. Then turns around and sees something smiling at him.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, oh gosh, and even like say like that one part in the sequence where, you know, fight between Captain Gut and Manny. Remember that one shot where like I guess Captain Gut's sword almost like it just barely like, you know, like poking Manny's eye, you know?
Exactly. And I think there was one line of inspiration they took from Mammoth Christmas when Manny and Gut are fighting. And Gut calls him fat, and Manny says, "I'm not fat, I'm just poofy," which I think was a reference to what Santa had said in the Mammoth Christmas of his suit being poofy.
Right. Well, no, I think I recall that something like that was said in The Meltdown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They said that a lot in the movies, haven't they?
Like Ellie says something, and then like in Manny's response, "I'm not fat, it's this fur, it makes me poofy."
They do say that a lot.
Yeah.
Must be hard for many.
And Captain Gut's defeat, well, the sirens get Captain Gut.
Yeah, and the way they do it as well is like, ah, brilliant. It's short but sweet. It's one of those short but sweet defeats.
Yep. And then the epilogue, because well, they're all of the like mammals, like they're all on the boat, and they find another piece of land entirely safe, and those hamster-like creatures. I mean, I can't remember what they're called, but they're like the minion like wannabes. Do you remember this? Like there was a freaking Statue Liberty there. You know that
There
like
was.
yeah. How did that happen? I don't know. And in the last sequence where Scrat finally finds Scratlantis.
And shortly after finding Scratlantis, Scrat is overjoyed, welcomed by people with like a lot of Scrats that look much like him, but more British, wearing togas and showing the whole paradise, monuments of Scrat everywhere, nuts galore all over the place.
Right.
And Scrat he's utterly infatuated by everything, and just begins to make a whole mess of the place, enjoying his new paradise, until he goes to the center monument, which is a huge nut in a small circle stairway, but despite the many warnings of the people in the togas, is told not to remove the monument and to act more like a civilized person and not a rodent.
Yeah, and
Scrat obviously doesn't listen and just pulls the plug out.
Yes, and that one Scrat, that one squirrel, you know, who speaks, the only one that speaks, well, being voiced by Sir Patrick Stewart, and that was pretty cool. He made a cameo in there, but yep, like as you said, like Scrat pulls the plug, the drain, and all of Scratlantis is gone, and like there's just a desert, and that's how the movie ends basically. Like one last shot where Scrat screams, and we get like the Ice Age version of "We Are Family," but it's "We Are Not Your Ordinary Family," you know, and it's kind of cool. Like we actually see footage of the voice act, like the actors, you know, in the recording.
Yeah, singing in the recording booths behind the scenes, which was really nice.
Right. But with all that being said, yeah, Ice Age 4 Continental Drift, I don't think it was that bad, to be honest. I mean, what are your final things to say on Ice Age 4?
Well, final thoughts on it. It does seem more like a soft continuation of the story. Like it's easy. It's kind of like how Toy Story 4 was for Toy Story 3. Like, you could end everything at the third one, but, you know, the fourth one ain't that bad if you just look at it as an extension of the story that exists. Like,
correct.
It's not starting over, it's just going on for the younger fans, really.
Yeah.
This is when the younger people, myself included at that age, were starting to get into Ice Age.
Yes. Yeah. For me, because, you know, I thought the fourth film wasn't that bad because of what was going on. The villains were pretty cool, I will say, and Captain Gut, of course. You know, that's some funny stuff here and there. I could go on explaining, but to wrap things up, like, okay, what's your rating on Continental Drift?
I would say 3 out of 5 stars. I would say that. So it's pretty good. Not as good as the other 3, but certainly not an awful movie as many people are saying it is. It has heart to it. Like that villain song when they first meet Gut.
Yes.
It's fun. It's a nice bouncy song.
Yeah, I almost forgot to mention that, like that, because they had that song number, Pirates. That was not bad, and kind of forgot to mention Crash and Eddie, but yeah, it's just Crash and Eddie. But for me, I will give this 7 out of 10 because I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it, and I don't think it's that bad. And as you say, you know, and like, you know, and what people say about the movie, there you go. But this was fun reviewing the fourth Ice Age film, and thank you, Amazing Gamer, for joining me once again.
No worries.
Yes, and he'll be back later on for, you know, joining me reviewing the next 2 Ice Age films, and we can do this as well. Like, if I'll go ahead and say this, because like later, coming soon to Disney Plus, we're having like a series centering on Scrat, and if you want to do that, like, we can review that as well.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd like to see what Scrat gets up to in his own little series of hijinks and mishaps.
Yes. So there you go. So all the rest of the rest of what's left of the Ice Age content, the franchise, me and Amazing Gamer, we will review very soon. So for now, we hope you've enjoyed our review of Continental Drift. Again, it was great having you once again.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to be here.
Yep. And until me and Amazing Gamer review Ice Age 5 Collision Course, we'll see you guys in the next video/review. Take care, and peace out.